is going on, man? Happy Easter, everybody. Man, what's going on? We are back in black in the building. Shout out to everybody out there at the Core Plantation doing what you got to do to survive. Shout out to everybody out there teaching Sunday school. Did Jesus come back? Oh, it's Easter Sunday. He ain't come back. God damn. But anyway, shout out to all my people out there. I want to send a shout out to the homegirl Erica, Florida in the building, Shawnee, Philly in the building, my brother James Youngblood, Texas in the building, my brother David from No Compromise, Georgia in the building, Arizona in the building, Miss Tanya Latanya, Vegas is in the building, all my siblings in Vegas, the homegirl Jerica in Vegas, and shout out to the homegirl Melina, North Carolina, aka North Kakalaka. Man, what is going on, man? We have made it. I didn't look. I didn't even know it was Easter today. I just seen this thing that said Easter, and I was like, damn, they be changing that shit so much. It used to be in March, then it went to April, now it's in March again. Now you tell me when he rose from the dead, because y'all keep switching the goddamn days. But anyway, shout out to everybody. For all the kids with the Easter baskets and saying their Easter speeches, shout out to y'all. We got a couple of things to discuss, so we gonna get into it, man. Easter Sunday culture. What is it? What is it to y'all? What does it mean? And I've been saying this for years, and I want to know what it is. So let's get it. Hey, had me to be singing in here. Yeah. Looking at. Whoa. Let me get to sing no church song. What's a good church song? Jesus is real. But anyway, man. Let me start off back. I'm confused. I remember Easter Sunday being, you wake up early in the morning, you go to sunrise service, and you go put on your Easter Sunday and suit and hats and all this other bullshit. Then you say your Easter speech and you get your Easter baskets and all this other bullshit. Okay, what I'm confused about is, where in the Bible does it say to hide Easter eggs? Where in the Bible does it talk about bunnies? And when you're hiding Easter eggs, bunnies don't lay eggs. They lay shit that stinks. So I don't understand where we get this from. That's what I'm saying. Easter Sunday culture, where did this come from? How is it on one end, you're worshiping Jesus Christ, that he rose in 3 days. So, you on that path, which is cool. That's the Bible path. But then where does the Easter Sunday baskets come in, and the bunnies and the chocolate eggs, which is really chocolate shit that you're eating? You're symbolizing your kids eating chocolate shit. Just chocolate dookie. Like, that's what I don't understand. Help me understand that. And the reason why I'm saying help me understand it, because it's very confusing. Because in one instance, you're talking about Jesus rising from the dead and performing these miracles. And then on the other half, we're hiding Easter eggs. And bunnies don't lay eggs. They lay dookie. And what you're doing is you're socializing. In my personal opinion, you're socializing your kids that they're supposed to be eating chocolate dookie from a bunny. And bunnies don't lay eggs. Chickens lay eggs. So I don't understand how we got from talking about Jesus Christ rising from the dead and praising and worshiping those miracles and things that he created to Easter baskets with a whole bunch of candy and shit. Now, in my personal opinion, I think it's another ploy to get people to buy a whole bunch of candy and a whole bunch of bullshit like Halloween. And then they incorporated that into religion. That's what I think. I've never really been a big time Easter person. And the reason why I haven't is, I don't know, as I got older, I just kind of was like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. You know, you go with it. You know, you go to church, you sing in the choir, you do the Sunday school service and all that. And that, you know, hey, man, that's a part of FBA culture. And, you know, I get it. It is what it is. But the Easter baskets and the candy and that shit has nothing to do with Easter, Tim, in my personal perspective. I just think that's something that the United States of America Incorporated they incorporated it, infused it into Easter. That's what I think it is. You know, there's a lot of things that I used to see growing up, and as I got older, I just kind of was like, yeah, that's weird. Like I said, I didn't too much question the church shit because I get it's church and it's Easter Sunday and all this other stuff. The only thing I ever questioned was all the candy and all that. Like, when Jesus rose from the dead, I don't think Mary Magdalene and all them and all her peoples was like, oh, hey, Jesus, we got a bunch of candy from you. He just rose from the dead. I think he might need some, you know, I guess he needs some candy if his blood sugar was low. I don't know. I just don't understand how we were able to incorporate that. And that's why I think sometimes we got to start educating our children. They're like, look, this is just a little fun part of Easter. But this is not really based on any facts. Nothing could be based on facts without research. But what I'm saying is, like, where the candy, the Easter candy and the Easter speeches and not like, okay, I get the Easter speeches and all that, but then how do you incorporate the candy and dyeing the Easter eggs? And I don't understand that. That is the part that I used to always be confused about, because where does it say that in the Bible you're supposed to go get chocolate Easter bunnies and dye Easter eggs and do an Easter egg hunt where you're looking for chocolate, looking for eggs? That's weird. I just always thought that was weird. And you're dyeing eggs, and what does that have to do with the Bible? And you say, well, Warren, why are you saying that? And the reason why I'm saying that is because that has become a culture that we have no idea of why we're doing it. We're just doing it because people have been passing it down to do it. It's almost kind of like vote Democrat. You know, when you talk to black people, they're like, well, you better vote Democrat. I think more black folk are conservative than they think. I'm not saying go vote for the Republicans. I'm just saying more black folk are more conservative than you think. I don't think a lot of black folk deal with the rising tides lifts all bills. What is Easter Sunday culture? What is it? I'm not trying to be controversial or nothing, but I just don't understand the significance behind Easter eggs and candy in Easter baskets. And like, I've never understood that. Even when I got older, I used to always, like, when I was about 15, 16, I used to be confused and be like, well, okay, if he rose from the dead, what does that have to do with candy? And like, I just never understood that. So that's another little tidbit we can put out there. You know, of course, everybody. And then the getting dressed up to go to church on Easter. You know, a whole bunch of niggas probably at church today. Oh, I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of niggas at church. Then you make these big, you know, Easter Sunday dinners. And I just never, I felt like it was all hustle. As I got older, especially when I got older, I was like, this is a hustle. This doesn't even make sense, you know, at all. You know what I mean? But I hope everybody is, you know, at church or having a good Easter Sunday. Me, you know, I max and relax. Watch some basketball games, chill. You know what I'm saying? Just relax, decompress, clear your mind, get focused for whatever your goals are and what you need to be doing. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say that is because as Foundational Black Americans living in the United States of America Incorporated, we have to always decompress to clear our mind so we can get focused for what we need to be focused on. And I'm not saying you should be focused on going to church. Ain't nothing wrong with going to church and doing that. Look, I was born and raised in church. If that's what you want to do and that's what makes you feel good, go ahead and do that. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Everybody has their opinion and their perspective about it and their path on which they want to go. Like I said, I was born and raised in church. David from No Compromise, no. We've done spaces about that. We need to get back. We got to get back to that, David. James Unblood, we do. You know what I mean? Like I said, I I don't have animosity towards the black church. I just have a little bit of grievances with how they socialize black folk at the black church. We need to be making black folk more financially accountable in the black church. We need to make them aware. Black kids should be knowing about stock, 401k, mutual funds. They should be knowing about money market accounts. They should know about real estate. They should know how to purchase their first home. They should know how to do their, to do their due diligence and research these things, because that's how you become financially savvy and fundamentally sound. Those are my grievances, what I have with the black church. You spend so much time at the black church, it being in fear of his timely or untimely return. I think a lot of the times we forget the intricate details of teaching young black children about wealth. And even if you go to a storefront church, that doesn't mean they can't teach you about wealth. That don't mean they can't teach you about purchasing a home. That don't mean they can't teach you about interest rates and how to put your money aside. And if you don't know, you can't find somebody to come in and do it. Because I know a lot of kids that went to my church. If they not dead, I bet you as far as stock, bonds, 401k, mutual funds, life insurance policies, a lot of those kids that I grew up with, they don't know nothing about that shit. And if they did, they went outside and learned it. They didn't learn it within the walls of the congregation. And a lot of that is because there's so much other bullshit going on at these churches. Me and David, we talked about it. We need to do it again, David. I'm going to go find that podcast and repost it. And repost it on the page. Man, David was breaking that black church shit down, man. Shout out to that brother. Man, he was breaking their ass down. He wasn't disrespectful. He was just breaking it down and giving pointers of where I would say there was a disconnect there between black church and black youth. So that's why I'm talking about Easter Sunday culture, because I remember that. I feel like Easter Sunday is when more people are coming to the church, that's when you really break it down. I'm waiting to see what pastor's going to be like. I want everybody to raise their hand if they got stock in 401k. I want everybody to raise their hand if they work a job where there's a 401k plan there. And how much you putting in there? 10%, 5%? Better put something in there. This is for your future. I'm waiting to see what pastors will be talking about that stuff, because that's very significant and it's very important. And I believe that the future of our children is at stake if we're not teaching them those type of things, because those things are important. Like I told y'all before, I remember I went to school and our econ teacher, I think my brother, my sister had him too, his name was Mr. Terry. One of the smartest white dudes. He was just very intelligent. Very intelligent. And very articulate, but just very intelligent. And he knew how to teach shit. It's just my attention span. And I remember he taught us, I had him for economics. Very, very cool teacher. And the most important about economics that he liked was housing and stock. And when he taught us about stock, I remember he walked to the back of the class. I was in the back of the class. He said, "Sir, I would really advise that you pay attention to this part of economics." And, I had the East Bay student sports book. The East Bay, we look at the shoes. I'm looking at Jordans. Gotta get the Jordans. Gotta get the fresh Jordans. He's like, I just highly suggest that you pay attention. And I was like, okay. He's like, because what I'm talking about right now runs the world. And goddamn it, 20, 24, 25, 26 years later, I do my due diligence in stock and 401k. That motherfucker was not lying. And what the dominant society does is you can never go back and be like, they didn't teach us. That's bullshit. They taught us. Because that stock, he went over that shit. He was so passionate about that shit. He broke that shit down. He talked about it. Oh man, that's all he did was talk about the stock and 401k and how much money is to be made. And he'd been into stock since he was a kid, because that's what his parents taught him. And he drove a Toyota Land Cruiser, if I'm not mistaken, a black one. Yep, in the 90s. And you know you had to have some paper to dry that. Yep. And that nigga wasn't hardly ever at work. He had so many vacation days and he would just go golfing. Yep. He broke that shit down. He broke that stock down. At the time, I'll never forget, Amazon stock was 90, was it 90? I forgot. In the 90s, Amazon stock was like $25 a share. Amazon stock was like $25 fucking dollars a share. Amazon stock went up to what, $3,000 a share, then it did a reverse split. But at that time, that's how much it was. And he was ranting and raving about Apple and Microsoft stock. And as a kid, you know, you're so programmed, you gotta dress fresh and you gotta look like $1 million. Man, y'all should see how I go out now. I go out, I don't even comb my hair, I just let my shit nap up. Y'all niggas, I don't give a fuck about that shit. Cause let me tell you something, you can look like $1 million and don't have a quarter in your goddamn pocket. And that's what we need to start teaching our kids. That's why I keep saying Easter Sunday culture. That's one day out of the year where you get dressed up and you go hunt for Easter eggs and you do all this imaginary symbolism shit, and then everybody just goes back to their lives. Shouldn't Easter Sunday culture be about stock, bonds, 401k, real estate, owning real estate, using that real estate for a general purpose of getting to the next piece of real estate, owning a piece of the pie? Now, that's what Easter Sunday should be about. I'm waiting to see what pastor is going to talk about that on Easter. How about you relate Jesus dying on the cross and you know, awakening 3 days later so we can go in to get stock in 401k, in bonds, in mutual funds, in life insurance policies. Talk about that. Related to how Jesus Christ didn't have no life insurance policy, so he had to awaken because he ain't had no life insurance, so he couldn't lead nothing to his people. But he gave us the wherewithal and the knowledge to go get it ourselves. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This culture, we have to change that. Easter Sunday culture shouldn't be about making kids stay up all night and dye eggs and shit and go hide them and symbolize eating bunny shit. It should be symbolized about stock, 401k, bonds. You're like, Warren, why do you keep saying this? I'm telling you this because I know. I've been around people that's in it. I've been around people that's mad that I knew about it. I remember I worked in this department at the Corporate Plantation a long time ago. And everybody saw me on my different accounts. You know, my Robinhood account, my E-Trade account. You know, I'm constantly, this is when I first started into stock. And I'm looking at my mutual funds. And I had read Stock Tip for Dummies, Mutual Fund for Dummies. And when I read these books, I really went all into it. And I tried to talk to people, but people don't want to fucking listen. You know, people want you to spoon feed it to them. I don't have time for that shit. I had read Dr. Boyce Watkins' book, Think Like a Millionaire. I had read several books about money. Dr. Dennis Kimbro's, not Think and Grow Rich, but The Wealth Choice by Dennis Kimbro. I had read like 5 or 6 financial books probably within 90 days, I would say. Because I was reading about a book a week. So after I started reading them, I started calling these places and getting information and doing my due diligence and, you know, purchasing, you know, stock and mutual funds and IRAs and shit like that, right? So I'm doing it or whatever. And I remember a person that had a position of power at the Corporate Plantation. He was shocked that I knew about all that. And he didn't even know about it. And I thought it was funny because he was like, oh, you talk about the company stock? I was like, nah, the company stock, I don't even watch that. I just let them do they thing. I got my own personal accounts where I'll purchase stock and 401k and IRAs. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, you don't have IRAs, you don't have a Roth, you don't have a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, you don't have those things? I do. And he was kind of shocked and felt a certain way. Then everybody else, when they start to see the significance of stock and all that, then everybody else wanted to like, hey, Warren, what do you think I should buy? Warren, I'm like, look, I'm not the expert in this shit. I just learned it from me. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we need to be on. We need to take Easter Sunday culture back. Easter Sunday culture should be about let's be thankful that Jesus died on the cross, he rose again, and he made it where we go by stock. We go by 401k. We go by life insurance policies. We can go buy these things so our kids can have an understanding. Because I'm not a generational wealth kid, so nobody's passing me down. I'm talking about, when I mean generational wealth, I'm not talking about a little bit. I'm talking about housing. I'm talking about multiple properties. I'm not a generational wealth kid, so I know the importance of going and trying to create it yourself. And I think that's what should be talked about at church more often than just the Bible. I think it's the duty of a lot of these black churches to do that. David, James, man, leave your comments. Tell me what y'all think. We definitely got to do a live about this, man, because I feel like it's very important. It's very important. Stock is all around us. It's everywhere. The majority of the homes that you see being built, they are traded on the stock market, like D.R. Horton or Pulte Homes, Lennar Homes, Lion Homes. These are all publicly traded companies. You have to understand that. The tires that you drive, publicly traded. You know, the car that you drive. If you drive an American-made car, it's on the stock market. That's what I'm saying. Like, you should be benefiting off of this and not just, you know what I mean, being one of those type of people that's seeing it all around, but you don't understand what's going on because you don't want to understand. Look, and all that I get an understanding. And once I started to learn about stock and 401k, I had a difference of opinion. Shout out to the homegirl Nuke. Shout out to the homegirl Sister Cobweb too. I used to talk to them about it all the time. We'd always talk about it. That's the only thing that black church was lacking. Financial stability is what should be taught. Go get a job and don't go, if you can't afford to go get the fast car later in life. But in your 20s, you know what I mean? That's when you get your feet wet. In your 30s, that's where you're trying to position where you want to be. Well, by the time you get to your 40s, you should already know where you want to go. But how are you going to know that if, you know, you're not being socialized that way? That's why I picked today, you know, when I felt like, oh, it's Easter Sunday. Yeah, let's talk about Easter Sunday. Because I think it's a very important day where you should be taught financial stability. I just think it's very important. Hey man, go check it out for yourself. Go do your research. You've already went to the black churches on Easter Sunday. We know we wear the big hats and the Easter baskets and you say your Easter suit. Have your Easter suit on. You say your Easter speech and the choir sings and everybody's all dressed up. And then you don't go back to the church for another 8 months until Christmas time comes. So, hey man, whatever your culture is, you do what it is, but I'm gonna ask you again and I'm out. What is Easter Sunday culture to you? Leave your comments if you can. Hey man, y'all have a great Easter Sunday. You already know what it is, you know what it ain't. Guilty nigga. I'm out. Peace.